Hello and welcome everybody to the Lobbycast, the official podcast of my house today. This is episode 363, and this is for the week of, I don't know what it's the week of. Today's the 12th, so happy Mardi Gras Day or something. Got a few things to talk about this week. It's just me, obviously. It's nobody hiding behind my shoulders here. And guess we'll go ahead and get started with some news. Deadpool has set a new preview record for rated R movies. Had 12.7 million on Thursday, which was highly unusual. I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot in the scheme of things. It's definitely up against Force Awakens, but it's doing very well for R-rated. They typically don't bring in a whole lot of money because not as many people bring their kids, so it kind of narrows the audience a little bit. So good for them. I saw it. It's great. It's definitely worth a watch, and I'll get more into that later. Speaking of Force Awakens, Star Wars, we had predicted that it was going to become the worldwide box office champ, but that is not going to be the case. I had good worldwide opening. But it's nowhere near Avatar's 2.7 billion. It's right about 2 billion right now, and probably won't get a whole lot past that. Maybe 2.3 max. So it's gonna be second, but it's not gonna be a super close second. It just didn't do quite as well overseas as Avatar did. Avatar was, the new hotness then. It was the new 3D, highly technological movie and fantasy based. Just blowing it away overseas. Now, Star Wars Force Awakens is definitely doing better in the U.S. They're definitely number one in the U.S., but nothing like Avatar worldwide. Getting into some TV news, Kevin Smith has announced that he and Greg Grunberg are going to be hosting a half-hour show on AMC called Geeking Out. Greg Grunberg, if you're unfamiliar with the name, you probably recognize the face. He was in Force Awakens, and then he was also in Heroes, the original series, and the Heroes Reborn. So he's a recognizable face. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I generally enjoy the things that Kevin Smith puts out there. He's also developing a series called Hollyweed. He stars in it. He's one of the stars, and it's set in a marijuana store in California. And he's already filmed the pilot, and we're just waiting to see if it gets picked up for a full run. I'm not sure if that's going to be on AMC like his other stuff, Geeking Out and also Comic Book Man, but more than likely he tends to do a lot of his stuff with AMC now. They're affiliated with Sundance, and Sundance is a huge fan of Kevin Smith, even if the wider movie audiences and critics aren't. Batman versus Superman and Jungle Book both had new trailers out this week. Jungle Book looks fun. It'll be a good one for the kids. Might be something there for the adults to enjoy as well. Batman vs Superman is it's their final trailer before release, and it looks really good. I've got high hopes for that one. Big fan, so you can argue with your friends about who's better, Batman or Superman, or Wonder Woman. She looks great. Gal Gadot, I think, is the actress's name. She looks like she's killing it as Wonder Woman. So we'll see whenever that comes out. Let's see. I think that's almost it. Microsoft has a good deal on Xbox Ones right now. So if you're in the market for an Xbox One, that's a really good time to pick one up. Through the Microsoft Store, and you can go online, or I believe it's in person also. But you get a $75 gift card with the Microsoft Store, and then you also get a free game on top of whatever else is bundled in with the system. So it makes it pretty awesome. So definitely look at that. I think that's about it for news. There was a little bit about a new Star Trek series that's coming to CBS, and that one's going to be done by Brian Fuller. That one should be good as well. And Star Wars or Star Trek shows don't always do well, but hopefully this one has a decent run. And okay, let's go ahead and move on to the weekly watches. This week I've been listening. I haven't been doing a whole lot of media intake this week. I've been listening to Coverville. I listened to one full episode, and that was the John Lennon and Beatles cover story. And it was covers of John Lennon songs and also a few of the songs from the Beatles that he had written. I'm not a huge fan of the Beatles, but it was enjoyable. There's nothing out of the episode that I thought was particularly remarkable, but still a lot of fun to hear different versions of songs that you're familiar with. And I started today David Lee Roth cover story and listening to covers of and by David Lee Roth, and that one's kind of fun. The covers that I'm hearing of Van Halen songs, they're very different. Um, there's a swing one and a couple instrumental ones. There's not. They're totally different, but of course you recognize the lyrics. Listen to an episode of Radio Free Burrito. This is Will Wheaton's podcast, and it's mostly just him talking about his life and things that are going on and things along those lines. This is an older show. He doesn't record them very often, so this was back from, I think October or November, just contextually from what I was listening to is before BlizzCon, who he went to keynote that one, and I'd like to hear the keynote. Maybe I can find it online somewhere. And then I also listened to an episode of Hollywood Babylon, which was good. It's always enjoyable. Kevin Smith and Ralph Garman talking about, well, they do have a bunch of segments, but then they're also talking about news, geek culture, popular culture, that kind of stuff. This week, I also didn't watch a whole lot, but it seems to be heavily superhero fueled. I watched a couple of episodes of Arrow, and then I also watched an episode of Legends of Tomorrow. Arrow continues to keep my interest. Legends of Tomorrow, really haven't gotten into. It's just not quite as much fun as Arrow is, and which is funny because Arrow is kind of a dark TV show. Still fun though. Watched a couple episodes of Batman the Animated Series. They're very short, about 20 minutes, so it's easy for me to fit in to my busy life. And then I also saw Deadpool today. Saw it this morning. This is this Friday, so it just officially opened today. Of course, as I said earlier, they did a preview yesterday, and they did really well. It's something that I'll definitely go back and see again. It's just a lot of fun, and it's very violent. There's lots of language, so it's not one for the kids unless they're quite familiar with those kinds of movies. Definitely not your typical superhero movie. A little background on Deadpool. He's a comic book character that fairly often broke the fourth wall, so he speaks directly to the audience lots of times, and the movie was no different. It was the same kind of thing, and he makes fun of his appearance as Green Lantern, makes fun of the X-Men, makes fun of a lot of things. And matter of fact, the opening credits are great. They're almost worth the price of admission just to see the opening credits. Those are a lot of fun because they don't actually have names. They have descriptions of the people in it and also the people who are behind it. So very funny stuff. Definitely, I think I'm going to go see it again on Monday. So I'll have to give you a second impression next week. As far as game news, or not gaming news, but what I've been playing this week, I finished up Fallout 4 with the railroad ending, and that was a lot of fun. I actually went ahead and got started on my second playthrough. Um, this one will be Institute based. There was a cheat or exploit where you could duplicate items, and I stayed away from that in my initial playthrough. And I was going to do some of that to bump up my stats in the second playthrough, but it would appear that that exploit has been patched out in the most recent patch, which was probably 3 or 4 days ago, and fixed a lot of things and added some stuff in there that I really like being able to see in your settlements who which one of your settlers is assigned to what resource gathering or shop or whatever they happen to be doing, and then likewise you can look at a resource and see that it has somebody assigned to it in a more clear way. It was a good ending. I enjoyed it. It was about just about what I expected. There's a strange thing at the end where a couple of characters just kind of disappear, and within the closing credits, although you can keep playing the game, it does have a cinematic with kind of the story ending in it, and the two of the characters just kind of disappear, and you don't come back to them within the ending. And I thought that was kind of strange, especially considering who they were. But other than that, I'm really looking forward to the second playthrough. It's going to take me forever also. This one took me 4 months to get through the first playthrough. As everybody knows who watches this, I don't have a tremendous amount of time to put into games, especially one as epic as Fallout, that has so much gameplay available in it. So on this one, I'm going to try and do some of the things that I haven't done because I'm not only playing with a different faction, I'm playing with a different kind of character, and I'm going to put some more effort into finding some of the collectibles, and I'm looking forward to that. So I think that's about it. Like I said in the description, quick and dirty today, as these solo shows often are, because there's not any discussion. It's just one of us talking into a laptop, which is uncomfortable at best, but hopefully at least mildly entertaining for you guys. Speaking of, as always, we really appreciate you guys watching and listening. We're available on YouTube and Spreaker. We're having some technical difficulties with the FTP servers, so the Zune and iTunes are lagging a little bit behind, but the audio versions are better. They've got processed audio, and they've got the music tags on it and everything like that. There's a little bit more produced, other than these live shows, and that's about it. Love you guys. Call and leave your feedback or give us topic ideas at 512-522-9278. And I will see you guys next week.